Okay. Am I live? How have I been live that long? That's upsetting. How do you do, sirs? Hello, hello, hello. This is J. Jesse Harper. Um, I'm coming to you on August 3rd, 2022. Um, there was something else that I wanted to do this particular stream on, but I think what has just popped in my head, I think is a good place to start. It is August 3rd, and that's a special day for me because it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Yay, J. Jesse Harper. How old are you? Don't ask. Don't tell. Point is, there are so many other more famous people that share this birthday. My favorite football player, for example, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. There was the Martha Stewart, John McGinley. Most people probably know him as Dr. Cox from that show Scrubs. Maybe even fewer people know him as one of the bad guys in Highlander 2. Little known fact, because that movie was garbage. But there's a lot of other people actually. Tony Bennett, um, Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen, and Emilio Estevez's father. Um, a number of other people that are escaping me right now, but it's a good day. It's a good day. And generally speaking, I don't care about my day. As I'm getting older, it's weird when you're a child, your birthday is a big special thing, and you feel like you can't sleep the night before, and all these different little things come to your head. But right now, the state of the nation, the state of the world, state of my mind, um, it seems as though, generally speaking, as I've gotten older, I've cared less about my birthday. And then when I hit 30, it started to creep back in the other direction. And it was more not feeling like this is my special day. Everybody has to do what I say, or everybody has to capitulate to me. But more as, I guess it's more of an appreciation. You know what I mean? Not just an appreciation for still being here and appreciating the years that I've been given and blessed to have, and hopefully I get a few more if the Lord is with us, says the same. Um, but I think it's also um, the world seems so crazy, and it feels like the more years you get under your belt, the easier it is to identify that crazy. If that makes any sense. It seems, the older you get, and he used to tell me that when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure other people have heard that a number of times. If you live long enough, you'll find out that there's nothing new under the sun. Or if you live long, and there's a number of ways to say that sentiment, but it is true. When you're a child, you are ignorant of basically everything except for what you want and what you like. And as you get older, you start realizing, oh, wait, there's like 7 billion other people on this planet, and they don't all think the way I do. Um, and not only is that okay, it's necessary to keep that in mind because um, we are we are all one body with many members. That is a Christian scripture, but it's not simply a Christian ideal. I mean, technically it is, but what I mean by that is it applies to all humanity. I mean, every species has to think about themselves as a member of the special body, the a member of the whole, and the goal of the whole is to continue on the species. Like generally speaking, that's what all members of a species, that's where the focus should be. Whether you can actually rationalize that, think about that, that's where we should be. And because humanity has higher thinking, and we can conceptualize and rationalize a number of different things, we should have the higher form to look at the species as a whole and say, well, wait, it's more than just keeping us, from going to extinction. It should be more than just, making sure that there are more healthier babies than adults being born, that we really are replenishing our ranks per se. Um, the child should be a focus of quality of life, not just your own or people that look like you or people who share your citizenship or whatever, but it should be as a whole. Again, we're a species. A rabbit isn't smart enough to recognize that another rabbit, um, if they survive, if we both survive, you have a better chance for the overall species to survive. They don't have to think about that because that just makes sense. You don't have to think it, rationalize. Well, this thing that I want, say for example, what did I just get in the mail? I got a fire tablet in the mail. Um, Thank you for that birthday present. Who gave it to me, by the way? I'm not gonna throw your name out there. I don't like doing that. J. Jesse Harper isn't my real name. Do do do. Point is, I got a fire tablet today, and if you want me to be honest, I don't hate it, but it didn't fill me with joy either. But I'm not saying that because I'm selfish and ungrateful. I'm saying that because that's honestly how I feel. However, I'm not gonna go out of my way to tell the person who got it to me, eh, hey, you could have did better in the present given department. You could have asked me, some more questions. You could have dove into who I am and asked, hey, what is it that you really, could really dig? What is it that you do, in your spare time? What is it that you get the most enjoyment from? And then try to give me something that will work with that. And the reason they don't do that, or excuse me, the reason why I'm not gonna go do that is because one, I am grateful for this present. Um, Two, I don't want to discourage, non-selfish behavior because I didn't ask for any gifts. Or actually, the person gave it to me. We were coworkers. Um, I'm not saying that we're not friends, but mostly what our conversations and how we meet and discuss and all that good, we don't really talk outside of work. If we do, it's work related. And we don't hang out outside of work. When we do talk, it's over the phone. Um, but I do consider him a friend. Sorry about that background noise if that's being picked up. Hold on. Mike's not picking it up. So if you hear it, it's distracting to me because it's loud. But it's a dump truck. It's a dump truck. Or a garbage truck, I mean. But let me not get unfocused. I guess I would not say he's a friend. He is a friend. Um, but I don't know who he is as a person. I don't know who he is as as a member of this human species. So I don't want to discourage that nice thought that he had. I think I told him my birthday was in August, back in April, and he remembered and wanted to give me a gift, and a good thoughtful gift too. I know that tablets and all these different things are a big deal in our society, and it's always been this thing that you have to get the newest, the best, or it doesn't matter. And that's not. Technically, that kind of is a human thing, but that's definitely an American thing where we ridicule people who don't have the brand new iPhone or the brand new iPad or the new Jordans or what have you. Um, and even though, yeah, like I said, it's a Fire tablet, it's Amazon, it's known. Um, and I think he did that because he heard many of our conversations about Apple. At work, we have to deal with Apple phones as a part of our job, and I always remark when I have problems. Can we do Android, or can I use my phone, or because I hate Apple products. I hate dealing with Apple. Um, Even before Steve Jobs died, I never liked the way that they handled their hardware, but it was more because the hardware was specialized, and I'm not one of those people that like to do, you know, I'm tech savvy enough, And the only reason why I say that is because I'm young enough to have had computers in my life basically the entire time. So I can use um, computer technology to a point, but I would rather it be simplified to a point as well. And growing up, Apple was never simple. Um, you had to learn Apple to use Apple. There was no let's let's just play around with it until we no. We don't do that. And so he heard I'm pretty sure he heard all those things that I've said, all those biases that I had, and was like, well, I'm not gonna give him an iPad because he probably would spend more time being angered by it than actually getting any sort of enjoyment from it. And so he got me a Fire tablet, which again I am grateful for. Um, but the point I'm bringing up is I've talked really long about that aspect. I didn't want to keep it on it because I actually have a point where I'm moving to, and the point is this: it feels like today's world is all about selfishness. Um, what can and has been done for me is more important than what I or anyone else for that matter can do for everybody else. In fact, it feels like there's a sentiment that if you focus on me and if you make sure that I have all the things that I want and all the things that I desire in my life is up to the standard that I want, then it'll be like Reaganomics. It'll trickle down. It'll trickle down to the rest of the people. When everybody sees how great I have it, they'll move in accordance with that, and everybody eventually. That's not how anything works. I started this off. We are all members of one body. We're all part of the human race. And every single man, woman, and child that considers himself a human being has the potential to help or hurt the human race as a whole. Doesn't seem like we care to do that. And it's sad. It gets really sad. The last, let's take the last 5 years. It's a nice round number. Last 5 years. Um, in that time, we have seen the Me Too movement. We have seen um, Black Lives Matter. We have seen the coronavirus. We're now dealing with monkeypox. There's a war in Central Europe between Ukraine and Russia, which has a big effect because Ukraine apparently, which I didn't know this until the war started, but the Ukraine apparently is essentially the breadbasket of Africa and the Middle East, and these areas of the world seriously are running in shortages because Russia being who and what they are, being the country run by Vladimir Putin and who he is. And if you don't know anything about him, I suggest you look him up because he's a small man, but he's not a weak man. He's not um, um, a man who's just been sitting around in a room somewhere, dishing out orders. He is a former spy, a big time former spy, who specialized in psychological warfare. He knows exactly what he's doing, and every time they bomb um, a supply convo or something that's trying to get grain and food stock out of there, they cripple Ukrainian economy, and they force people who are dependent upon Ukrainian economy um, to demand an end. All these things are going on. And at the end of the day, as different as these problems are, you can kind of lump them all into the idea that we don't care about certain things. things that should be easy enough to care about. Now, I don't know if we, and when I say we, I don't know if the human race is at the point where we can rationalize the tiny differences that have kept us separate. And I say that because in this country, at least, let me just keep it with America for the rest of this little discussion. Um, America as a whole, we don't care about things that don't affect us directly. One thing that I remember distinctly after George Floyd was the fact that nobody was saying anything new on either side. Nobody was saying anything new. Now, what had changed was this idea that, well, um, if you don't have a black friend, or or you don't actively go out and disenfranchise or hold a particular group of people back, or blah 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 blah. If you're not, quote unquote, you know, boots on the streets, hands deep in all this stuff, then there's really nothing you can do. Or better put, that there isn't any reason for you to feel guilty. And then all of a sudden there was a shift saying, hey, you got to realize that you're privileged just by being you, which, I mean, we're Americans. Of course we're privileged just by being us. But again, we're only talking about Americans. And obviously that's not what was being said. It was specifically white people are privileged just by being them. Their doors and opportunities are open to them just for being them, which isn't a false statement, but it also doesn't help us moving forward. If you've ever seen The Punisher, the TV show, not that horrible movie with John Travolta, but but the TV show. I can't remember what episode it is, but I like the episode where the guy, I'm blanking on the character's name, but it's the black guy that Punisher's friends with. He was a army medic, and his arm and his leg got amputated. He lost his leg in Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm not sure. I can't remember which. Um, but there's an episode that starts off where he's telling the story, and it's a story I've actually heard a few times before that moment. But I like the way he told it specifically because he made the point of the story very clear. And the point of the story was that in the story he told, there was a person who was trapped in a hole that he couldn't get out of. And every time somebody passed by, he would shout, "Hey, help me, help me." And people kind of, if they looked in and kind of look in and realize, oh, maybe he's in it. And they just keep on moving. And he kept crying and hoping that he can grab hold of something, but he could just never climb out of the hole. And then all of a sudden, some other guy comes by and he looks down. He's like, "You okay, buddy?" He's like, "No, I'm trapped in this hole. I need your help. Get me out of here." And he's like, "Don't worry." But instead of throwing a rope down or doing something to help him out, he jumps down in there. And now the guy's freaking out. I was like, what are you doing? And now we're both trapped in a hole. Now we're both in the same problem. And the second soldier was like, "No, don't worry about it, buddy. I was just like you just a few minutes ago. The difference is figured out how to get out of this hole. And I'm gonna help you figure out too." And the reason why I like that one is because I've heard that story a number of different times, but I never heard it in that particular way, that ending. The idea that, hey, buddy, I was just like you. Once upon a time, I was all alone, stuck in this hole. And I didn't know if I was ever going to get out, but I did. And so now I'm jumping back in the hole. Not because I'm feeling nostalgic, but because I see somebody who was just like me. Only difference is I didn't have me to come along and teach him how to get out of this hole. And that's how the human race should be. A lot of us fall into holes. A lot of us fall into pitfalls and traps. And some of us can come to them, but a good many of us, we get out. We make it. And I know this because literally human history is littered with these stories, not just actual events, but people sitting down and writing those stories out and then publishing those stories so future generations could see. There's lots of people. You don't get stuck in the hole. Not all of us. A good deal of us do, but not all of us. But once you have that knowledge, what are you doing with it? Are you helping other people get out of those holes? Are you even warning people to stay away from those pitfalls? Who knows? I don't see it. I do sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I do sometimes. We're not we're not completely devoid of this sense of help. We're not completely devoid of the sentiment that we're an army of one, that we only care about ourselves. We only care about the things that make us, you know, whatever. No, it's a few more people than that. But I mean, you never know exactly um where your particular story can help out somebody. You never know what you have lived through and what you have dealt with that will help people, that will allow people to um get pulled out. I'm looking, there's a person, and I wanna get the name correct because I think that person needs to be highlighted. And if you're noticing, I'm specifically not using pronouns because I'm not really sure, how he or she wants to be viewed. Let me see here if I can hurry up and pull out this person's name because I really want to highlight what 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 they have done. Let's see here. I hate that I was man, I should have did this yesterday because the name I seen a whole bunch. I seen a whole bunch of thing. There was Scott Nugent. Thank you. I hated it. I could not find the name, but Scott Nugent. All right, so to give you a quick little insight on who Scott Nugent is, there was a woman. She was born a woman, and she lived a life as a woman. She got married. She had kids, and but she had always felt different. Her given name was Kelly King. Um, and for 42 years, She lives as a woman. She was in sales. She was a sales executive for a big time business company. She like I said, she was married. She had kids, three, who are teenagers at this point, I believe. Not sure exactly how old they are, but they're at least, you know, close to adulthood. But she's always felt that she wasn't, you know, in the right body. It's called gender dysphoria. And I don't really want to get into whether I believe that that's true or anything like that. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Well, what I will say is when you are someone who feels this different inside, when you feel like looking in the mirror is painful or just simply not right, you need to go through the steps to figure out what that is. But today, we're not doing that for each other. Today, there is a whole group of people who will tell you that the reason you feel this way is because you actually are the opposite gender inside. You know, somebody assigned the sex of female to you at birth, but it's not accurate because you inside are male. And so if you come over and give us thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, really. If you give us hundreds of thousands of dollars, we'll make that face you see in the mirror more comfortable. It'll be more to your liking. No, 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 no. That just doesn't work. That's not the way anything works. It just isn't. You can't you can't draw if you have a picture, for example, and you don't like that picture, you can't just erase it and then give you something that you like. I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong, you can. But humans are not that simple. We're not something that you can just like Wooly Willy, y'all remember that? Wooly Willy? It was like a little picture in a little clear plastic, container, and it had metal filings and metal shavings all over the place, and they gave you a special little magnet pen, and you can put a beard on Wooly Willy. You can put a fro on Wooly Willy. You can give him a mohawk. You can do all kinds of different little things with the little metal filings, and make Wooly Willy exactly how you want him to. And if you don't like what you did, you just shake it and start over. Humans are so much more complex than that. And one of the first appropriate questions when people feel this way, or they tell you these things, or they are feeling these types of um, confused feelings. The first question is to ask, well, why do you think you feel this way? First and foremost, what is it that you actually feel? What is it that's going on here? Do you just feel sad? Do you just feel like you don't like the way things are going? Or do you see somebody or see something that you wish you had? Because on the outside looking in, that's what it feels like. A lot of these things. It feels like something has been shown to you and glamorized in a way that you feel like if you just get a piece of that, maybe your life will be a little bit better. There's literally been scary story after scary story after scary story of that exact concept. Of this guy or this woman. They see a successful guy and woman. They're beautiful. They have a beautiful significant other. They have a big house. They got lots of money. They're happy. And at some point, you see that other person slowly doing different things. Maybe it'll be they show up and they're wearing the same outfit, or they've styled their hair in the same way, or they've done a big change. They buy a car that the person they admire drives. They go out and run the way that the person they admires runs. They order the drinks. They slowly and at first it looks cute. It's like a twin. Oh, you have your twin. But then slowly it gets more disturbing. You wake up in the middle of the night and they're in your house. You go to work, they're already there. You talk to your friends, they thought they were talking to you this whole time. Nah, they were talking to this person that's trying to steal your life. You can't keep up with the Joneses. The grass isn't always greener. Whatever you see another person or persons doing, no matter how happy you may think they are, I promise you, their life is not perfect. And if you try to just jump into their lives, I guarantee you, is you won't even take on their problems because that actually would be easy. You just watch this person, you see the pitfalls and the problems they have, and you just work your way around those because they're a different set of problems. But that's not even what people do. They assume that they can leave their problems that they're having behind, and they will never pick up any of the problems that the people that they admire inevitably are going through. But I'm still getting off topic a little bit. Back to Kelly King. So at 42 years old, Kelly King decided that she was a man in a woman's body. And the reason why I say it, she decided, is because at first she was a lesbian. Like, remember, again, I said she was married, she had kids, got a divorce, realized she was a lesbian. And then that changed to, oh no, I'm a trans man. So she changed from Kelly King to Scott Nugent. And I even think, I'm not sure about this, but I think the last name is a play on words because it's spelled Newgent. So it's not like the guitarist Ted Nugent. It's not Nug whatever. It's not Nugent like a name. It's like New Gentleman Nugent, which I'm pretty sure at the time she thought that was clever. Now she is 48, maybe 49. I don't know when her birthday is. But she's either 48 or 49. Um, and now not only does she regret the decision, she's adamantly talking about how nobody else should do what she does. And that's why I'm bringing her up. Because it's one thing to make these decisions um, that will completely alter your world, completely alter your life. She can't push reset. Like I said, she's not Willy Willy. You can't just shake her life and reset. For better or for worse, she's a trans man now. But in going through this, she has recognized, I made a mistake. And there's a number of different things that she does and says, and I'm only gonna stick on three, really, because I want people to look up Scott Nugent and really look into this person's story because um, she so often is doing what very few people do. So three things. First off, she finally realized the truth in this whole transitioning thing, and that is you can't make a woman into a man, nor can you make a man into a woman. There's a number of different reasons why, but it just simply can't be done. The best you can do, and really the best you can hope for, is to be in this sort of um, nothingness zone. This sort of you can really only straddle the fence. You can't necessarily um, make that woman look like a man, but you can't necessarily make them not I mean, more feminine either. You just get in this, like, between zone. I mean, yeah, sometimes the hormones allow them to grow facial hair, and sometimes they do the what was it, a double mastectomy and stuff like that. They do these different things, but inevitably, first off, the scars don't hide anything. So that's always a dead giveaway. No natural man has all these stitchings and scars on their nipples. Like even if you've seen somebody after a double mastectomy, it looks off. It just looks off. Their chest somehow still sags. They still have wide hips, so they tend to have an hourglass frame. Like there are certain things that irregardless of what you want, regardless of how you feel, there's certain things that you won't change, no matter how good science goes. And it's sad that she had to go through this problem to realize that, but that is the first thing, the most important thing, really, is that no matter how much you want it to be, you can't go from woman to man. You can only put yourself in this neither zone. Says first off. Two, she will die because of this. She will. That's not a oh, she has a very high probability. No, she's going to die from this. And the reason is because when is for the woman to man, I'm just gonna stick with her story. The woman to man, when to well, first off, let me explain it this way. Essentially, there's two different types of surgeries. Um, the first, the one that most people get done, is just called a top. That's the easiest way to look at it, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Everything above the waist is altered in a way that makes you look like the desired sex. So again, if you're a woman to a man, you take testosterone, you start growing facial hair, you do the double mastectomy, get rid of your breasts, and you do different little things cosmetically to look like the opposite sex. Now, this is, like I said, generally speaking, whether you're a man going to a woman going to a man, this is generally speaking what most people stick to. And the reason why is because you don't really need a whole lot of surgery for that. And two, it doesn't cause complications. The second one is bottom. And again, that's exactly how it sounds. Everything below the waist is altered in a way, specifically the sexual organs, to give you the approximation of those opposite sex organs. And that's the problem. That's the big problem. Top's a problem too, but the bottom is where you get into these horrible issues. Because again, science is only so good. And so far, we have been able to make artificial organs to a degree. There's certain organs, obviously the brain, the stomach. There's a number of different organs. There's nothing we can do. We can't. We just haven't built the technological advancement to make those work. I think someday we will. But a penis or a vagina is not an organ. Those are two different things. Organs are much more complex. And even though glands and these different things aren't as complex, they produce things. Their job is to make chemicals and different things for your body. We can't replicate that. And it's the same thing with your sex organs. We don't have the expertise, the ability, whether it's just, the tools necessary, all these, we don't have it. We don't. And even if your surgery to do whatever you need to do on that bottom is quote unquote successful, you're gonna have to have at least another follow-up surgery, probably at least two, to do extra stuff. And that's if you're very, very lucky. Most people, you're gonna end up like Scott Nugent. And what Scott Nugent did, what everybody basically has to do, is they go to one of your arms and they take as much fat and tissue and and arteries and veins and nerves. They take as much of that from your arm as they possibly can while still making your arm, workable. And then they take all your DNA that they have collected, and they sort of Frankenstein fashion it into whatever it is that you need it to be. That's actually only if you want to go from woman to man. If you want to go from man to woman, you actually have a penis to work with. So they slice that up and mutilate that and fashion that into a vagina. But the point still remains. Whichever one you choose, you have now mutilated a part of your body. And that always comes with risks. First off, any surgery, I don't care how benign, comes with risk. Because anesthesia is involved. There's always a percentage where anesthesia will go wrong. So that's first off. Two, there's always a possibility of a complication. And that's if your surgeon is one of the best of the best. You can never account for everything. Now, three, if your surgeon is the best of the best, they're probably going to mess up. And a number of these surgeries just outright fail. Just outright fail. They don't even get the chance to do additional follow-ups to, like, say, for example, if the tip is starting to die. Because that does happen. A lot. Or you could be like Scott Nugent's case, where they took a particular skin and stuff from a particular area, and when they grafted it on, it was growing hair from the inside of her body. Infections, poor blood flow, your body recognizing that you have this gnarled, mutilated piece of flesh on your body, so it's constantly trying to send antibodies and more blood to help facilitate the healing of this mutilated mess, which causes inflammation, which causes more problems. She is constantly in pain, constantly sick, and that is going to kill her. And we didn't even get to the third one yet, which is the stigma of telling the truth. Because Scott Nugent is just a statistic in a lot of people's eyes. Again, if you're in the money-making business, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars per patient. And like I said, these surgeries don't work. So you're constantly going under the knife. There's more money. So they don't want you to tell the truth in the matter that, one, this is a pointless surgery that will never even work. And two, you're literally rolling the dice with these people's lives over a surgery that won't, forget the fact that it's elective, it won't do what they want it to do. But we can't tell people that. In fact, we go the opposite measure. We go to every child that we possibly can and convince them that they want this too. You You won't feel complete. You won't feel your true self without it. Scott Nugent is being ostracized. She's being controlled because this world wants you to think that not only there a ridiculous percentage of the population that actually wants this stuff, they're telling you that if you don't get yourself involved, you're hateful. You wanna live in the Stone Age. You won't respect my truth, quote unquote. No, the truth is Scott Nugent was wrong. She crossed the bridge that she shouldn't have crossed. But instead of just saying, "Oh, well, that was my mistake," she's turning around and shouting to anybody who will listen, "Do not cross this bridge like I did." Because she can't go back and warn people. She has to stay exactly where she is and shout that warning from across the other side of the bridge. I, for one, applaud her. I do. Because that's not what people are doing today. Irregardless of what the agenda is. Black Lives Matters is not telling and owning the fact that you guys are a bunch of thieves, that you profited off of black lives, that you don't care that black lives actually matter. It's just words. Everybody is doing things only worried about the initial and personal benefit. Everything else, we don't care. Doesn't matter. I turned 37 today. 37 years. It feels like the America that we are currently living in, the Western world that we're currently living in, I never thought it could get this selfish. I never thought it could get this blind. Because people aren't being tricked. I mean, they are, but it goes even further than that. They're taking metal rods, heating those metal rods up themselves, and they're blinding themselves. And are honestly confused why you weren't following suit. I won't. I can't. That makes no sense to me. And I hope you don't either.